Okay.
and a simple caulking gun. So you just use a simple caulking gun, which is your standard. And these come with tips. You'll have tips that'll actually be put on the ends, so you'll have that. With the Saltite, then you just put the cartridge in, load your cartridge, make sure you can burp it, make sure you burp the material to the top. In fact, let me see your Kleenex for a second. Burp the material to the top so you know you have a clean bead coming out, so you can see the bead coming to the surface. Just clean that off. And then when you're ready to apply sticking bricks together, you're basically going to take a brick, you're going to put one bead down the one side, just a simple bead, no wider than an inch wide maximum, inch on the other side. You can see the bead coming out, forming. And then you're going to take your other brick and you're basically going to butt up against it. Just butt up against it so it's a nice clean attachment. Now ideally you want that to sit for 24 hours once it's glued together. It'll be a nice solid finish. And then you could take your bricks and glue them to the wall. Take your bricks and apply them to the surface of the wall. Again, just by putting a brick across the back, a bead across the back, a bead at the bottom half of the back, all the way across, no wider than an inch wide, and then take your bricks and apply it to the surface. You can take up to 2 bricks at a time. I would not suggest too many at a time, but 1 at a time in a vertical axis would be unsafe because it takes 24 hours for a full cure. So we want to make sure we have a good consistent bead across the back that has full coverage, and 2 beads on the bricks on the edges when you put them together. We can do one more to show you. We can do one more if you'd like.
Okay.
One here. Again, we're just going to take the bead and go across the back. This one's, the brick's a little broken in the back, so it might be take a little bit more adhesive. Put a little more adhesive here because of the fact it's slightly broken down at the bottom. We'll give it a good full coverage adhesion to the opposite surface. And then you just push it right up against it, butt it up against it. Again, full cure is 24 hours. Really important. And these 4 bricks will all be basically bonded together before it goes on the board if you want it, even if you want to do that. These will not separate. Once they're bonded for 24 hours, they will not be broken apart. It's very, very difficult to tear them apart. Okay?
Can we put on
Yeah.
top?
You want to put it on top of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right here.
Oh, okay. Straddle it. Okay. So when you're going over a crease, make sure that you get the beads really good and full across the crease of that, because a crease of this is going to be the gap at which you're going to have to make sure you've got full coverage of. But then continue on to the other brick. Again, you only need 2 beads technically across that interface to get full coverage. Take your brick, sandwich them down over the top of it. Make sure you got good spacing and good connection with the brick below it. You've got time too. You can adjust this as you see fit. So you can take, if you want, this brick around and slide him around a little bit. Slide this guy around. Put him to exactly where you want him. and then you can just leave him at that point. Okay, one more. Again, same principle. We're gonna butt up. Now this time we're gonna actually hit the edge of this too. Well, we should have cleaned this. I didn't even think about that. Always make sure your bricks are free and clear of any debris or anything that can prevent the adhesion of the bricks together. The Saltite will not bond to heavy debris if there's debris on there. You must make sure it's free of debris. Gonna put our bead down the side, our wall. One down the other, two beads, one on the other side. Space those out about 1 inch apart, it's probably plenty. Make sure again, you fill that gap in between the bricks where they come together. Because that's gonna be a gap right there, and you gotta make sure that you don't have that gap. Fill this gap right here. We're starting to beat up a little bit on our tip. We got to make sure we don't keep that clean. Okay. Make sure you butt up against the brick. Again, you've got time. You don't have to rush this. This is just to make sure they're nice and straight, nice and even. You got plenty of time to work with this material. But you just want to make sure once they're in position, you leave them. Do not move them after you've established your positioning. Okay? As you can see, I made a little adjustment because I wanted to make sure they're nice and flush to all the bricks as they go all the way across.